driving into Turriff, a very small town on the Sunraysia Highway, Victoria, Australia. As you can see, it's all 80 kilometres an hour and not going down to 60. It doesn't take long to reach the end of town, where we park up and start to explore the town. The first thing I notice when I come into town is the memorial. This memorial was built in 2008, so relatively recent. The memorial on the left is for the pioneers of Turriff and the surrounding district, and the memorial on the right is a war memorial honouring those that served in World War I, World War II and the Vietnamese War. In the past, the town had a sports centre, but as we went and had a look, it looks like it hasn't been used in quite a long time. It must have been used for tennis, could have been used for netball, basketball, but those days are long in the past. The thing that did surprise me was the toilet. I expected that to be run down as well, but when I looked inside, it had toilet paper, very clean, hand towels, well maintained. Now at the back of the memorial there's a shed, and there is the tennis nets. Obviously it hasn't been used recently. So now we're off for a stroll through Turriff. On the left hand side you can see the CFS. When I arrived in town getting set up, the siren went off at the CFS. It was midday, so I thought it might have been a test, but no, not long afterwards, cars arrived and the fire truck departed and was off to do a job somewhere. Luckily, by the time I'd finished filming, the truck had returned and the cars departed for their farms or their houses, so it can't have been a very big incident. Now, Google tells me that in the town there is a museum. I came across this swamp tank museum. Now, obviously a museum in the past, but not really a happening thing at the moment. So very rundown, very neglected. All open to the elements, so everything's getting waterlogged, wind blown. Now the building to your left, that is what I think is the old school, because it tells me that the old school was placed in the grounds of the museum, so that would make sense. Now the town had 3 schools at one stage: a state school, a west school and a east school. Now, one of the schools went to Oyen in 1976, one school went to the museum, and the third one, not sure what happened to that one. As we look into the museum a bit more, we can see old spinning wheels, wheelchairs, boxes of bits and pieces. Obviously someone's abandoned this museum. Not anything of value here. Probably cost more to clean up than what it's worth. So that's the Museum of Turriff. So we proceed down the road past another house. Now this house is probably one of 5 houses that I counted when I was in Turriff. So not a big place. A place with 5 houses, a CFS. Used to be a museum and used to be a sports complex. It's stated that the population in 2006 was 140. Now this was probably the surrounding districts as well, But in 2001, the population went down to 30, so a lot of people left. As you can see, you can purchase yourself a piece of Turriff. These blocks of land are for sale for $35,000 each. So quite big blocks. So if you want a bit of a country change, there they are. Now, if you've Googled Turriff and you're expecting a town in Scotland, well, this is not it, because there is a town in Scotland called Turriff and also a town in Australia, vastly different, as you can see. Now, the town was not always called Turriff. In 1902, when it was first settled, it was called Goya. And apparently there was another town very similar to the name, so they changed it in 1906 to Turriff. This was after John Turriff, so it wasn't after the town in Scotland, but after the manager of the Corong station. Now here's a bit of an aerial view of the town. As you can see, not very big. There's the CFS, there's a car about to leave, I think. And before you make any comments, yes, the drone footage is a little bit quick. I've learned from my mistake, and next time I'll make it a little bit slower. Another fact about Turriff is that a meteorite was found in a field weighing 0.28 of a kilogram. Now this is now in the Victoria Museum, so if you want to see a meteorite, that's where you'll find it from Turriff. So we go to the train line and we find that there is no train station. I couldn't see one. The train station closed in 1975. I'll finish off with a photo of a very nice Ford. This man I spoke to 23 years ago, he drove past the spot where you'll see the car and purchased this Ford, restored it. So he's just here for nostalgic sake and off to a car run. Okay, so that is Turriff, Victoria,